Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. We'll start in a couple of minutes.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Okay. So, in our earlier class yesterday, this day before yesterday, on Saturday, we have discussed about the different types of microscope, the simple microscope, compound, and compound microscope. So, the better magnification can be achieved by a compound microscope, and what we see today in our regular laboratories is the compound microscope. The compound microscope is powerful enough for us to observe the microorganisms. Okay. So we can observe the various microorganisms using the compound microscope. Sometimes it is essential that we also want to study the components, the structures that are there inside the cell. Okay, that is what we say are the cell organelles. Okay. So when we want to study the structures that are there inside the cell, the size will be going somewhere in the nanometer range, close to nanometer range. So to be able to study those kind of structures, we need a special microscope which is known as the electron microscope. The electron microscope is designed such that on the top, okay, there is a generation of the electron beam. Okay, they will be electron as rays. That's what we say, cathode rays. Okay. Now these rays will be moving from here in the top, they will be generated, they are moving downwards, and on the either sides there will be some magnets. Okay, there will be some magnets here. The function of these magnets is to adjust the focal length of that rays. We want it to move in a certain way, just like what the function the glass lens is doing here, the same function the magnets will do here in the electron microscope. Whatever we want to study, the specimen will be kept in this place. Okay, and the electron ray, electron beam will hit that sample. After hitting the sample, depending upon how much thickness it is, less or more of that rays will pass through the sample. That will form a film here. You can see as an image in the bottom here in this part. Okay, and that digital image can be observed in a computer screen. Okay, so in this way the electron microscope will work, and we can observe the structures that are there inside the cell. A simple comparison of the three types of microscopes that we have seen, that is the simple microscope that was invented by Anton von Leeuwenhoek, compound microscope, the first kind of models were developed by Robert Hooke. Okay, Robert Hooke, in our first slide we saw that cork cambium, cork, okay, made up of cells, cella, okay, that was also coined by Robert Hooke. The design here includes a single biconvex lens, whereas in a compound microscope there are two biconvex lenses and there is a concave mirror, okay, for illumination of the sample, that is to bring the light in the sample. In an electron microscope there are powerful magnets that will function as lenses. For the light source we have the visible light both for the simple and compound microscope, and for the electron microscope there is the electron beam. If you compare the magnification, the simple microscope is about 200x, compound microscope you can reach up to 2000x, and in a electron microscope 2 million times almost you can reach the magnification. Okay. Next, let us move on If any doubts are there in the microscope part, you can ask. Next, we will move to the next topic, that is the cell theory. Okay. Next, a very important topic, that is the cell theory. What does the cell theory state? The cell theory was developed by the two scientists, that is the Matthew Sheldon and Theodore Schwann. So in short, people say Schleiden and Schwann. And further, Rudolf Virchow added one more point. Matthew Sheldon was a botanist and Schwann was a zoologist. Okay, study of the plants, study of the animals. Both of them, what they observed, that if you take any living organism, the smallest unit of the structure of the living organisms is the cell. Okay. The first point that was proposed in the cell theory was that the cell is the smallest unit of the structure of all living organisms. Okay. Second, the cell is the unit of the function of all living organisms. So, 2 points are coming, that cell is the smallest unit of the structure and function of all living organisms. So, what it means? Can anyone try to guess what it will mean? Structure and function, unit of the structure and function.
Sir, it means that cell is the building block of all the living organisms.
Yes, it is the building block. You can say that one. And also that cells are independent. Okay. So when you say something is a unit, that means it should be capable of performing all the functions by itself and be an independent entity. Okay. So here the cell is known as the unit of the structure and function of the living organisms. Also, all cells arise from the pre-existing cells. Okay. All cells arise from the pre-existing cells. So this is a very important point. If you are observing any cell today, that means how it has come. Is there any chance that there will be some magic?
No, sir.
There is no scope for magic. If you are observing there is a cell, that cell would have come because before it there was some other cell. That cell would have divided to produce more than one cell. Okay. This is the fundamental basis. This particular, all cells arise from pre-existing cells, that was proposed by Rudolf Virchow. This is the fundamental basis on which we are predicting that cells, they divide. Okay, there is cell division. Cell division. Because all living organisms, they have to also die. Okay, so life and death is part of the living organism. And a non-living organism does not have life, does not have death. It is just an inanimate object. So for a living organism, one of the most important criteria to be called as a living also includes there should be reproduction. Okay, that it should be able to make more of its type. Okay, so what does the cell theory imply? That the cell is the structural unit, functional unit. Okay, that cells will die and they will be replaced, and most of the life would have started as a single cell. Okay, these are some of the things that we can uh, expect, because the cell theory, we are following the cell theory, we are believing in the cell theory. Okay, we are believing in the cell theory, and that is why these things are all possible. Any doubts you have regarding the cell theory? Okay.
No.
Okay. How many cells? Okay, that is a question, because the living organisms, they may be single cell organism. Sorry, they may be single cell organism, or they may have multiple cells. Okay, so if they have a single cell, we say single one celled, then it is unicellular organism. It is the unicellular organism. So under the unicellular organism, these include examples like the bacteria. Okay, what you are seeing here images are the typical, okay, single cell organisms: amoeba, euglena, paramecium, chlorella, yeast. So all these single cell organisms we didn't know ever existed. Okay, only after Leeuwenhoek discovered the after he discovered the microscope, powerful simple microscope, but we are able to see these wonderful world of microorganisms. So if time permits, and if the pandemic is goes away, maybe we will be able to do some practicals. Okay, and in the practicals we will be able to observe some microorganisms. The other one is the multicellular organisms. Some of the examples are the Spirogyra, Volvox, tardigrades, and tissues. So when you say multicellular organisms, that means there are many cells. Now, for example, here in the Spirogyra, you are able to see that there are some fine white lines are there. Okay, you are able to see that there are some white lines are there like this. Each one, this box is a cell, an independent cell. After the cell has divided, it has remained attached to each other. Okay, and it is functioning as one organism. Therefore, it is called a multicellular organism. Similarly, here Volvox. Okay, all of these we can observe in the pond water. Okay, little bit dirty water will be there, pond water will be there. So in that, most of the places we will be able to observe these are they are green, no, the photosynthetic. They will be able to do the photosynthesis. Tardigrades, these are not plants, these are animals. They are so minute, they look like they are from some alien planet or something, but it is real. So in this way, there are many microscopic multicellular organisms, and like for example in humans we have many multicellular organs, okay, bone, cartilage, blood and so on. Okay, so from here what we are understanding that there may be single celled organisms that are called the unicellular organisms. Okay, there may be a few cells like a spirogyra, no, not too many, also few cells, and there may be a huge number of cells, multicellular organisms, okay, like trees and humans and so on. Okay,
Excuse me, sir.
yeah.
Sir, is tissue an organism?
Tissue,
So
yeah. So
it
tissue,
has been included.
yeah. So tissue is part of an organism. In our earlier class we have discussed the hierarchy, okay, starting from the cell, tissue, organ system, okay, and then organism. So there is a different levels are there. So the tissue and cell and organ are all are part of the organism, but individually these cannot be called as a living organism. Okay, for example, if we cut out the hand from a living organism, can we say that it is a living?
No, sir.
It is no more living. So therefore the level of the cell, tissue, organ system, all of these will be considered in separate units. Okay, these are our units, you can say. Okay, different units of life. And when all of them are working in a coordinated fashion, they are talking to each other properly, communicating with each other properly, then they are able to make one excellent functional system, that is the organism. Okay, okay. Next. Next, we look at cells, how small they are, what is the size. Okay, we should have a general estimation of what is the general size of the cells. When we are talking about atoms, okay, atoms, you will be studying in your chemistry some little bit, you have studied already in your earlier classes also, that in the center of the atom there is the nucleus and the electrons are revolving around it. The size of an individual atom will be 1 by 10th of a nanometer. The range, the size is so small. Nanometer. So where we are able to see with our visible, let us see from first of all where we are able to see visible eye. Yeah, I think frog egg we are able to see with the visible eye. With our normal, without any requirement of any microscope, we are able to see the frog egg. Okay, the size of the frog egg is 1 mm, okay, diameter. So we have discussed earlier the resolution of the human eye. So in this range it is able to make out the size. But as we go further, okay, things become very difficult to observe. We need a special apparatus, that is the microscope. So all of these will come under the compound microscope up to this bacteria and maybe perhaps sometimes mitochondria, but we cannot be sure. That is margin. Viruses, we need electron microscope. Okay. Only with electron microscope we can see the viruses. This is a very large virus. Flu virus is very large virus, 100 nanometers. Okay. So we need much more for the proteins, atoms, and all this. We can't really see the atom, but today we have such powerful microscopes where we are even able to observe the atoms. But that is not part of our business now. We are just looking at a general idea about the what is the size of the cell. Okay. So you see plant cell, animal cell, bacterial cell. Okay. So range is coming 1 micrometer, 1 millimeter, around this range. This chicken egg and ostrich egg, are they single cell?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So when we consume an egg, a chicken egg, that itself is just one cell. Okay. The these are unfertilized eggs. Okay, we are consuming. So this is a single egg cell. The same is ostrich also. So in this way, what is happening is the size of the cell, okay, it can vary from 1 micrometer to 100 micrometer, or much larger also. Okay. So the largest single egg is the ostrich egg. The longest single egg is the cell is the nerve cell. Smallest, okay, we will say the bacteria, zero point 0.3 to 5 micrometers, that is the mycoplasma. Okay, this is looks like a nice GK question also, which is the smallest cell, bacteria living cell, that is the mycoplasma. Okay. I think for today maybe we can till here is okay. Any doubts you have, you can ask.
So,
Yes.
what are lipids?
Lipids are fats. Okay, fats, oils. Okay.
So lipids are stored inside our body.
Huh. Lipids are there in every cell. So when we take this plasma membrane, okay, this is one typical cell. Every cell is covered by a membrane outside. Okay. That membrane itself is made up of these lipids, that is the fats. So when someone says that don't consume fats, fats are not good for health, anything that we consume should be in a balanced proportion. Okay, so all of these are part of each and every cell. Each and every cell of our body requires these fats, oils, cholesterol. All of these are very important. They make that membrane, which is part of the covering of the cell. Oils will be the liquid at room temperature, fats will be solid at room temperature. For example, if you take the uh, regular mustard oil that we use, okay, coconut oil, so all of this we are saying oil. These oils are normal room temperature, they will be liquid. Fats like ghee is there, all of these, vanaspati, dalda, whatever, these are a bit solid at room temperature. Okay, so these are known as fats. But both of these together, scientific term, what we will say, lipids. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I will take your attendance. I think most of you have not yet put your roll number and name properly, section and all. Okay. Please try to change it as soon as possible, because once we don't understand what it is, we cannot mark your attendance. Okay. Then it is difficult, it is a problem for you only, if you are not getting marked, though you are attending the class, we are not able to mark your attendance. Okay. Okay, then thank you. I will see you all in the next class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.